This year's love, it better last. Heaven knows it's high time. I've been waiting on my own too long. So tell the reaper man and the stars above that you're the one I love. You're the one I love. The one I love. I never heard a single word that you said. Babe, I said I'd give my right arm every day you'd hit my side out. Baby, baby, you're the world to me.
What kind of music did you grow up with?
Well, the first music I can remember is my dad playing the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Elton John, Rod Stewart, Carole King, Cat Stevens. That's the sort of my early memories of it.
Okay, so already there's quite a few singer-songwriter types in there.
Yeah.
Did you, I mean, when you were a kid, were you aware of the song as an art form, as something that you wanted to?
No, it wasn't like, my parents weren't sort of like bohemian sort of dropout sort of types. It wasn't like music was a religion. My mum used to sing in a choir. I knew she was a good singer, but I wasn't really that interested in all that sort of churchy music. So no, it wasn't like it was taken incredibly seriously. They were into music, and my dad would be into music, especially when he had a few drinks. He'd sort of turn the stereo on, and we'd all have a listen. But no, it wasn't like taken that seriously, so I never really thought about it too deeply.
So when did you start writing songs?
As soon as I could play a few chords on the guitar. So first I started to write poetry as part of school, as part of the sort of creative writing thing, and loved that. And then as I was becoming interested in music, someone gave my sister a guitar. For some weird reason, I got a football for Christmas, and they gave her a guitar. I could never work that.
Even though you were the guitar player already.
Hey, hello.
Wow, that's
so
unfair.
I did a trade. Here's the football.
Off you go and I'll have the guitar.
It was around that time my friend had a guitar and he was learning some chords, so he wrote some chords down for me, and then I learnt that, and I came up with these kind of, I suppose they were a bit like The Cure with a Bob Dylan influence sort of type songs, just sort of poems put to music.
When did you first pick up a guitar and form a band?
I was about 15 when I first started to play the guitar, and formed a band when I was about 16 at school.
But at that age, did you think this is something which I want to pursue and this is something I want to do, or does that come later?
I became obsessed with music, I think, when, like you do when you're a teenager. It seems incredibly important, and I discovered Madness and the Specials, and that was the first thing that really floated my boat. I totally got hooked into all that, and it was a private universe that I lived in, really. It was just fun at school. We just wanted to make a loud noise. There wasn't any sort of logic to it, other than we were going to be the weird kids who had their own band and annoyed everybody at the school disco for half an hour if we were allowed to. So we just played it. The guitarist was obsessed with The Who, and the drummer was obsessed with Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, so we had to have a Zeppelin, Hendrix and a Who song in the set, and I wanted The Cure and a Dylan song, so it was a real, God knows, it was awful, really.
Did you make a conscious decision to be a singer-songwriter?
I made a conscious decision. I remember telling people, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to art school, I'm going to form a band, and then I'm going to do this. I basically chose the path of least resistance, or least exams. So I've studied painting, that's the way to go. But I loved painting. That was a real decision for me, which one am I going to do? And painting just seemed like an irrelevance. So I think music still seemed to have a lot going for it, but it involves so much more, travelling, other people and the concerts, and I guess I think part of it is it sort of pulled me out of my own little private world, whereas as a painter you're just very much on your own.
How about the years before you became famous? There was a good. How long were you on the circuit for?
Not long. I mean, it was well, I mean, before, I was on the. Oh, I was a long time before I was successful, I suppose, in a commercial way. So that my first record deal, I think I signed in 1991 or 92, and first single came out in 92, the end of 92. And it was a long time then before I was successful in this country. It was 2000, I think, when White Ladder started to break. We released it in Ireland in the end of 1998. It's sort of, so that was quite a long period of time. And then obviously there was some sort of testing periods there where I really sort of lost the plot and didn't really know why I was doing it anymore. You know, I think there's a sort of there was suddenly a skewed logic. Lots of other people had an opinion about what you should do, what kind of record you should make. I had to kind of stop for a while and then start again. And when I started again, it was White Ladder. So luckily, it went well from that point.
With White Ladder, did you approach songwriting in a different way?
I think I'd learnt a few things, and I got over myself. I mean, my strengths are, I guess, my passion, you know, the soulfulness, and but almost like your strengths are. I've got weaknesses in my sort of studios. I've always been very sort of wary of production and the whole thing. It's just like letting go of your music is such a big step, and I'd never really quite managed to do it. And White Ladder was the first time I kind of really opened myself up to the process. But it obviously happened in the cozy confines of my own house in the spare bedroom. And it was a voyage of discovery on a very sort of low-key, lo-fi level, so it was perfect. But what I started to hear were results that sounded like my music,